But seriously, it has definitely made a difference. Just that alone has made me feel so good about the decision I made to start eating meat again. Hi, my name's Olivia, and I spent 11 years of my life as a vegetarian, and just recently, for the past about 2.5 months, I decided to eat meat again. And so I just want to share a couple of things about that. I've already made a video sharing why I became a vegetarian in the first place, and then also why I ultimately made the decision to start eating meat again. So if you haven't seen that already, go check it out. I'll link it in this video. But for today, I just want to share what it was like eating meat for the first time, especially if you are a vegetarian or a vegan and you are wondering what that is like. Are you going to get sick? All those kinds of things. And then I also want to share how it's affected my health so far, because I ultimately made the decision for my health. So I know it's only been 2.5 months, but there have been a couple little changes. And 6 months, 12 months down the line, I know that it should be different. And so I'll make a video when I get to that point, but I still wanted to share where I'm at right now with my health journey and eating meat again. So I first just want to explain what it was like eating meat for the first time in such a long time. So I really am into health and wellness, and I just want to do whatever's best for myself and my family. And so when I decided to eat meat again, I didn't want to just run to Taco Bell. I've definitely heard of people being vegetarian for years and then going and eating Taco Bell, which whatever, it is your life, but that's not what I wanted to eat. So I really wanted to eat meat that was local, grown on a farm, organic, no hormones, no vaccines, no anything like that. I wanted to find the cream of the crop kind of meat to eat for the first time, and for the rest of the time. So I tried farmers markets, I tried finding co-op, I tried looking at the Weston A. Price Foundation, trying to figure out where I could find this meat that was local. And I ended up getting messages back, and I ended up going and buying meat from a local farm, which has been really awesome. But at the beginning, I just wasn't having any luck, and so I just kind of gave up, and I went to Central Market, grabbed some steak, and came home, and my husband made them. So my husband makes steak all the time. I buy steak for him every week, and he makes it. I usually just eat vegetables or whatever, just add a couple different things for myself to supplement the meat, maybe quinoa or whatever. But now that I was eating the meat, it was just a whole different story for some reason. So before, when he would make it, it did not bother me in any way. But when I knew that I was going to actually put it in my mouth, just him cooking it was really grossing me out. The smell was just 10 times worse for some reason. It really didn't bother me before, but that day it was oh, I'm going to throw up. And then once I had it on my plate and I was about to put it in my mouth, I kept having these flashes. This sounds so dramatic, but it's seriously how I felt. I kept having these flashes of a cow, and then the raw meat and it being killed, and all these things, which is crazy because I personally didn't make the jump to vegetarianism because of animal rights or anything like that. I just didn't really like meat. And so the fact that I was freaking out eating this live animal, I guess it is just because it had been so many years that eating a live animal, not that it was live when I ate it, but eating an animal that was alive was just really grossing me out for some reason, and kind of freaking me out mentally. But I ended up doing it. I ate about half of it, gave it to my husband, and then from then for the next 2 weeks, I would just eat meat a few times a week, once a day, every other day basically, because again, I had never eaten meat in so long. I hadn't eaten meat since I was in high school, so I wasn't making my own meals really in high school. So I didn't know how to make meat, what to buy, anything like that. And so I basically just relied on my husband for that and just ate it here and there. And it kind of grossed me out for the first week, and then I kind of got over it. And now I'm just I want to eat meat at every meal. I crave meat. I'm feel so much better eating it now, which is so weird. I didn't know I would get to this point and so quickly, but it is what it is. And yeah, I never got sick at all. That is, I feel maybe for some people, maybe some people do get sick, but that just wasn't a thing for me at all, except for just mentally. Even the next day after I ate it for the first time, I kept having these little flashes when I was just outside playing with my son and these flashes of like the animal that I ate, which is so weird and gross, but I don't have that anymore. I'm over it and it's totally fine now. So I also want to share the health changes that have happened so far. So the biggest thing right before I decided to eat meat, almost every single night I was having like extreme bloating, and extreme pain. Like I would have to lay on the floor and try to like get the gas out of my stomach before I could go to sleep, because I literally could not go to sleep because it would hurt so bad. That's kind of when I knew I was like at the end. But once I decided to eat meat, I have not had those pains at all since. So I'm not going to say that it just like magically fixed my bloating completely, because there have been a few days where I'm like a little bloated here and there, but not to the same extent, and also not the excruciating pain. It has not happened one day. So I'm not going to say it's a magical fix and I've never been bloated again, but seriously, it has definitely made a difference. So just that alone has made me feel so good about the decision I made to start eating meat again. Another thing I noticed is my eye twitch. So I had a really bad eye twitch that was really hard for me to even focus. If you watch some of my old videos, like there were times when it was going and I was like worried that the camera was gonna see it even if I was further away. And it was really hard to focus, especially if I was talking to a person and trying to look them in the eye. It was really hard to focus my eye onto theirs because of the twitch. It was so strong. But so I still have the twitch. It might be going right now. It was going earlier, but I don't really notice it. Like I can't, if it's going right now, I'm gonna zoom into this and see. But if it's going right now, I can't feel it. So it's not like hindering my activity at all, which is a positive. I hope that, in 6 months, maybe it goes away. I'm wondering if the two are correlated. I'm not sure yet, but seriously, it has changed. It's not that big of a deal anymore. It's still there, but not to the same extent. I've also noticed a little bit of a pickup in energy, but I also will say that my son recently started sleeping more through the night. So he only wakes up about once during the night instead of like 3 or 4 times. So I feel like it's not a good comparison, because that has happened about the same time as I started eating meat. And so it could be the meat, it could be the additional protein, but it also could just be because I'm getting a little bit more sleep at night. Another thing I've noticed that has changed is the smell of my gas. I know it's disgusting, but seriously, the gas that I was having literally every day was terrible. And now I really haven't had very much gas at all. And if I have, it's like doesn't smell, which is crazy, because for years I've had the worst smelling gas. Like it's been really terrible, and I just haven't had that. I think there's been 1 or 2 days where it smelled a little bad, and I'm sorry for like the TMI, but I feel like this is useful information if you are deciding to eat meat or on the line deciphering what you're going to do. So I think that has been a change from the meat, because I don't see where else that could have come from, and that has definitely been a good change for my husband. So there have been a couple other things that I am kind of just watching to see if anything changes within the next 6 to 12 months. So things like my teeth are super sensitive, so I kind of think potentially that's correlated with the lack of protein that I've been getting, but I'm not totally sure. So I'm going to watch for that. If there's anything that you're wondering, or like if you are on the fence of becoming of eating meat again, and you're a vegetarian or vegan, and you want me to like look out for some certain things, please let me know in the comments, because I'm more than happy to do so. The last thing that has become a lot easier through eating meat is feeding my son. So I don't really have to worry about him getting enough protein or trying to balance out meals anymore, because I'm eating meat with him. And so I'm able to test the meat, eat the meat first, and cook it. And so I feel a lot better about his diet, plus my own, definitely my own, because if you haven't watched my last video, there were days that my son was getting more protein than I was, and my son is only 13 months old. 13 or 14 months old right now. And so that's just not good. That makes no sense. And I know that you can get enough protein if you are a vegan or vegetarian. I know that there are a lot of things out there. For example, pistachios and quinoa are considered complete proteins, and so you can do it. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with being a vegetarian or a vegan at all. If it's working for you, like it worked for me for a very large majority of the 11 years that I was a vegetarian. So I'm not saying in any way that like that's bad or you shouldn't do that, but it just wasn't working for me and my family anymore. And so I ultimately needed to make the switch, and I am very happy with my decision. I have no regrets so far. I also want to mention one more thing. I have noticed that I've gained a little bit of weight during this. I don't know if it's exactly correlated. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that that is why, is because I'm getting a lot more protein. I'm eating a lot more meat. I'm not eating more at all, like more food. I'm just eating a lot more protein. And so I have definitely noticed a little bit of weight. And I even asked my husband the other day, I was like, I've gained a little weight, like, right? Like my legs are a little bigger, my butt is a little bigger. And he's like, yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? But I guess that's a nice thing to do. I don't know. But it's not fat. I don't have cellulite or anything like that. It's just I'm getting a little bigger, and I hope I just stay the way that I am. I feel like this is how I kind of looked in high school. I'm probably a little bigger than I was in high school, but that's another thing that I've noticed. It's not, don't be scared if you're gonna eat meat that you're gonna gain a bunch of weight, because it's not, I don't think it's a bad thing. My legs were pretty skinny, and so just gained a little muscle, that's all. So that is another thing that potentially could happen if you decide to start eating meat. So that is really all that I've noticed thus far. It's only been about 2.5 months, and so of course I don't think that I'm gonna reap all the benefits from this in just 2.5 months. And I'm always trying to be healthier and have a better diet, and so hopefully 6 months down the line, a year down the line, things are going to be different, and I can't wait to share those things with you guys. So again, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching.